Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is October 21st, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. Let's get situated. You can see Alaska, Hawaiian Islands, BC, Washington, Oregon, Pacific Ocean. Here comes our frontal system. It is on our doorstep. Precipitation should be increasing across the region here for much of the area. We're going to get multiple rounds of these systems moving through this weekend on in through next week, and then potentially something even more sinister as we get towards next weekend. And we'll take a look at that here in the extended model runs coming up. But first, take a look at the drought monitor. One last look at it here. Unusual severe drought in through western Washington will be raised here over the next week or two. And you can see we have some exceptional extreme drought off through the east slopes of the Cascades of Oregon. Maybe we can start to chip into that as we get later into the fall and in towards the winter months. Somebody go knock on the Seattle Weather Service door here and get them to remove this air quality alert. It is all good through western Washington now. It's taking a little bit longer down through some of the Willamette Valley, but Portland is good right now as well. You can see at my home, we dealt with some hazardous conditions and some unhealthy air for a while. Look at the dramatic improvement we had though last night going on into this morning. We're doing well here across western Washington. That's been kicked off to the east though, so it's going to take longer the further east you go to clear out all this smoke here over the next day or two and through some of the southern Willamette Valley. You can see that here, the air quality index, look at the Puget Sound, just maybe a few pockets of some degraded air quality, but not much. You probably don't even notice it at this point after what we've been dealing with. You can see as you go east, it's still pushing this air through as we bring this onshore flow across the region and bring that frontal system in. Now, this is looking at the NAM 3KM. This is hot off the presses 12Z. Total precipitation. As we go through the day today, you can see some rain shadow effect across the Kitsap Peninsula and even the central Puget Sound as the rainfall will be piling up as we go through this afternoon across the Cascades. And then you can see it take aim at the Oregon Cascades, northwest Oregon, some of southwest Washington, but not too much precipitation up through, it's not going to be a washout for the lowlands or anything. You'll just get some nice measurable precip, but not too much of it. The Cascades are really going to get a good shot of it here with this first system, as well as Oregon coast, southwest Washington, Olympic Mountains. Even northeast Oregon is going to do well here, as well as some of the Rockies across Idaho, Montana as well. And then we're going to look at the European here so we can go out a little bit further. This is the 06Z run. You can see the Euro paints a little bit more precipitation across the central sound up towards Bellingham as well. Going on into tonight, into tomorrow morning, you can see half an inch there at Seattle. And then you can see kind of that cutoff where the precip is going to be better, mainly Olympia south through Oregon, as the Cascades of Oregon are going to be the big winner for precipitation with this first wave that moves through. But fear not, we've got more coming as we go through Saturday night into Sunday morning here. You can see the next system start to approach as we go through Sunday afternoon and evening and start to put Seattle over an inch. Portland will be over an inch, in the Cascades it will continue to pile up through British Columbia, Vancouver Island, coastal range. Everybody gets in on the action west portions here, except maybe some, you can see some of that rain shadowing occurring here across some of the San Juans here, but still a little bit of precip falling for them. The big rain shadow here is for eastern Washington and southern and southeast Oregon there, as per usual with these west moving systems. Now taking a look here, this is yesterday afternoon's European run. Let's take a look at a wider look at what's coming. Here comes the frontal system rolling through the area. Late breaking wave, kind of a little low to pressure, maybe some blustery conditions along the Oregon coast. No big deal. You can see that really bullseye the Oregon Cascades. Good precipitation amounts through portions of Idaho, western Montana as well. Now, as we go on into Sunday night, the next system starts bearing down on the area here. So another nice precipitation maker, but we should not be dealing with flooding conditions here with these first few systems going on in through the following week. Tuesday night, afternoon and night, another system moves through the area there. And then as we go through Thursday night, here comes the next one. And this one has more of an atmospheric river look here. It's not going to be too warm of a system, but it could bring some snow melt across some of the areas of BC and Washington, so we have to watch that as we go through the extended as well. But you can see that kind of hang out over the area for a while, and that can start to mean trouble for flooding once you start to train over the same area. And then on through the extended, the European and the GFS, some of the other models have been showing the potential for multiple atmospheric rivers actually coming up here as we go on in through the end of October. So we really have to watch that through the extended. That's where we can really start to get some flooding concerns going. Now looking at the GFS here, same thing, mainly the bullseye, Puget Sound south through Oregon, but still we're going to get good amounts to the Cascades of Washington. Southwest BC kind of gets cheated out of this first system, but fear not, they will get their share here coming up. As you can see, Monday into Tuesday morning, the next system, Tuesday night, the next system GFS is a little bit weaker than the European was with that one. But then as we go through Thursday night, you can see this one coming down. Looks more like an atmospheric river here, doesn't it? As we go through Friday evening, and then another system right on its heels as we go through the weekend. These can be flood makers as we start to go through the following weekend here with atmospheric river potential. And you can see some of the dynamic systems that GFS has diving into western British Columbia, draping these powerful fronts across Pacific Northwest here as we go through the extended forecast. Now this is looking at total precipitation here in the year. I just want to run through this pretty quick here. You can see these multiple waves move through. Everybody in the Pacific Northwest, west of the Cascades, is going to get some pretty good precipitation out of this. You can see the rain shadowing taking effect across portions of eastern BC and Washington, southern Oregon as well. But then you can see these multiple waves move through the area, and some of these precipitation values start to get a little bit out of hand here, and we have to start worrying about flooding across areas, the Olympics, North Cascades up through British Columbia here, maybe even the Cascades of Oregon or Washington, depending on just how these atmospheric rivers set up. Now, this is looking at total snow. We'll run through this pretty quick here as well. Mainly through Oregon, it's going to be above pass level where the best snow builds up here, at least for the first few systems. It's still October right now, and we're not dealing with, November, December type air just yet, but we're looking at some pretty good snowfall amounts building up here as we go through next week. So you can see through British Columbia here some pretty good amounts build up. North Cascades, look at Mount Rainier getting bullseyed there, and some decent amounts to the Oregon Cascades, Northeast, the Rocky Mountains of British Columbia, Idaho, Montana, as well as we go on in through the extended. But then with those atmospheric rivers, especially if you build up snow through October, those atmospheric rivers can really wipe out a snowpack really quick. So hopefully it's not going to be too warm, and we're not going to raise the snow level too high as we go through early November, but we'll continue to watch it. Now, looking at the European on the left, GFS on the right, 18,000 feet, general ridge and trough position. The air flows like this around a ridge, and then it flows through the trough. This would be considered a Rex block. You got a high pressure here with a low pressure south of it. You can see that trough really open up across the Pacific Northwest. That's mainly the first system. And here comes Sunday night, Monday system through British Columbia across the region here. Then we go Tuesday night system. You guys get the picture here. Gulf of Alaska trough really starts to get going through the extended, and this is when atmospheric rivers can start to impact the Pacific Northwest. You can see a little bit of difference in the timing of the Gulf of Alaska trough for the GFS and the European, but you can see the troughing does continue across the region here, and so we look to remain active through the end of October and probably even further on into early November after that. Now looking here, this is the Canadian versus the German here. General same picture here. Trough comes through. There goes Monday system on the wake of that. Then we got the Tuesday night system coming down, a little bit weaker on the German model there. And then the Gulf of Alaska troughing setting up on the Canadian and the German model here. So we have good agreement through all the models that we are coming towards atmospheric river season here at the end of October. Kind of concerning here right now. We'll see how the models trend, but all four models kind of showing that. I think the German model is kind of like overdoing this transient ridge here that will quickly kick out. But yeah, the models are showing it. We'll continue to watch it for now. This is looking at the European ensemble mean. This is an average of all 50 of the ensemble members the European runs here. First trough, Monday's system, Tuesday's system, Gulf of Alaska troughing starting to set up here. This is on the most recent run in the European last night. So pretty good model run-to-run agreement. Let's back up a little bit so we can go a little bit further out here. Gulf of Alaska trough going strong, keeps reinforcing itself. Troughing remains all the way into early November here across Pacific Northwest. And really not much of a change all the way through November 4th there. So now looking here, this is Pacific Ocean. Here's the Hawaiian Islands. This is Alaska. I want to show you this. This is 10,000 foot temperature here. And this goes our system our systems start to roll through here with this colder air aloft, bringing some of that mountain snows. You can see Monday's system there. There goes Tuesday's system there. You get the gist here. Gulf of Alaska trough really starts to get going through the extended here, and maybe an atmospheric river comes to visit the Pacific Northwest. And kind of a nasty one looking on through the extent of the European here, as we get a strong, long gradient here that could bring some good subtropical moisture into the region. But now watch this again. Watch this cutoff low get reabsorbed into the westerlies there and kind of come back towards the Pacific Northwest. And then you can see it drop off another cutoff low, kind of just the general pattern on how things work on the global circulation issue. And then you can see this colder air dive down across western Alaska and the Aleutians, and that might set up a strong gradient that could direct some of that subtropical moisture back to the Pacific Northwest. We'll continue to watch that over the next few days here. And I want to show you the jet stream here. This is at 39,000 feet. You can see this powerful jet really digging the trough down across Pacific Northwest. You can see the ripples in the jet stream bringing in Monday's system there, and then we go Tuesday's system there. And then we start talking about atmospheric rivers potentially through the extended here. Now taking a look here, this is precipitable water here. Now you can see these systems as we go through, they're progressive. They move through the area. There goes Monday's system here. You can see it kind of comes up along the shoreline and gets out of here quickly. It's not going to cause big flooding areas. There goes Tuesday's night system. But then as you start going through the extended, look at these start to hang out a little bit longer here. I'm now going through 6-hour periods also. So you can see that's hanging out for a while there across southern BC and western Washington. And then the next one, this one is X-rated here. I mean, if something like this sets up and bounces back and forth across Pacific Northwest with the snowpack in place, you're talking about some pretty nasty flooding potential here. So hopefully we don't start dealing with that yet. Now this is Snoqualmie Pass 24-hour snow totals. You can see as we go through tonight, it's probably going to be snowing pretty good, Snoqualmie Pass tonight. How much it sticks, I'm not quite sure yet, but they are calling for a few inches of snow here over the next few days here for Snoqualmie Pass. Stevens Pass, even some better snow, probably looking for Monday night on in through Wednesday here for Stevens Pass. You can kind of see this is model to model variancy here. Now the last couple of runs have been picking up on those snow totals from Monday on through Wednesday here for Stevens Pass. You can kind of see it here too. You can see Friday system, Monday, Tuesday, and then later in the week here. And then potentially maybe the atmospheric rivers move in here and move the snow level above pass level, but we'll see how that goes. You can see we're going to get some snowfall here in the Cascades. This is Mount Hood. A lot of the precipitation that falls there is going to be above pass level will be snow, but as you get pass level and lower, a lot of it's going to still be rain or melting snow as it falls. And you can see the systems roll through here, the Mount Hood area, and you can kind of see some lofty amounts here as you move through the extended forecast to the end of October through November. Atmospheric river potential shown there. This is Boise here coming up here. The first system looks like it's pretty good for Boise. I mean, look at this. Over half an inch, 0.6 of an inch here on the mean and the control coming up here. And the next two systems, a little bit of precip, but I know it can be used out there on through Idaho, on in through western Montana. Spokane, nice gentle systems here as we go through next week, and then the potential for a little bit more maybe on in through the extended here. But still, at least Spokane's picking up some precipitation here. Kelowna here off through eastern British Columbia here, even getting in on the action here. Getting some rainfall going through the area. One of the bigger cities of British Columbia. Victoria kind of showing the systems rolling through here. Then you can see a little bit of an atmospheric river showing up here in the control run and the extended. We'll continue to watch that. Seattle, Tacoma, same thing here. Gentle systems. Shouldn't be any flooding problems here with the first three. Then the potential for the atmospheric rivers come. You can see these two have over an inch for SeaTac. You can imagine how much more that would mean for the Cascades. Whistler snow look here. The first system kind of misses to the south, but some of the ensembles still have a little bit of snow falling. The next two get Whistler here, and then as we go through later this next week, a pretty good snow event potentially for the ski area up there. And the control has another one right on the backside of that as well. Quileute Airport fantasy windstorm hunt here. Look at this system on through Monday. It looks like it's going to pack a pretty good punch out there. Some wind gusts probably up into the 40s, and then the potential for a bigger storm does exist out here. That's another thing that we have to watch out for with this forecast coming up here. The Gulf of Alaska low, we can spawn some windstorms here across the Pacific Northwest. Let's for Astorius here, a little bit of blustery conditions, that Monday system, and then maybe a windstorm in the future. Seattle, Tacoma, a few big ones showing up here, as you can see in the orange and the red, but nothing is out of fantasy land just yet. We'll continue to watch that. Nootka Light Station, the helicopter pad out there, you can see this is on Vancouver Island. Here's the map of it right there. So let's back up here, and you can kind of see some of the good precipitation amounts and that atmospheric river potential on through the extended there. Now looking at the 6 to 10 day, you can see the signal for the Pacific Northwest. This was yesterday's release, 8 to 14 day, nothing changes there. Risk of heavy precipitation is moderate. This would exist all the way up through southwest BC. And this is the risk of heavy snow. You can see the Cascades of Oregon, Washington. This is going to be mainly pass level and higher here for Oregon, and probably into the extended, the snows are going to build up better across southern BC as a whole. This is, for those of you who missed it, this was issued yesterday. This is December, January, February seasonal temperature outlook here. So we do have that below average signal here for the Pacific Northwest for December, January, and February. Maybe we'll get some snow. Snow lovers, cross your fingers. The signal is also above average precipitation here across the Pacific Northwest as well. You can see January, February, March, again with the below, on through April, below. Will we get a late start to spring again this year? Who knows? But I'm just going to show this for you guys. I showed it yesterday as well. Just wanted to let everybody know who didn't see yesterday's video. And you can see this is released yesterday also, monthly precipitation outlook for November. You can kind of see that bullseye. This would be helpful too out here across eastern portions of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. But you can see the above average signal does exist for much of the Pacific Northwest. This would include British Columbia as well. And this is for November, January, December. I think I might have showed this one already once too. But anyway, let's look at Astoria here really quickly. I want to show you something that's coming up here. Actually, let's back up here a little bit more. You can see the inversion that existed here. This is the temperature line. So you're looking at the temperature at 10,000 feet, about higher, 15, 16,000 feet. As you go a little bit higher, 500 is 18,000 feet. But look at the inversion just get wiped out by this frontal system. Here it goes. You can see the temperature start to drop off here as we go through this afternoon. And the atmosphere really cools off. The green line is moisture. So when it touches the red line, you know you've got a saturated atmosphere here. So in the lower levels, it's saturated here as we go in towards Saturday morning. Now watch this. When you see this bar here, that means we've got some unstable atmosphere. We got convective available potential energy going on here. So there is a thunderstorm threat as we go on in through tomorrow for portions of the Oregon coast here, even through southwest Washington. And look at this, pretty unstable profile showing up here. But you'll notice the winds. These are all coming out of the north and the northwest. So we're not getting any directional wind shear. We're not talking about any kind of rotating storms. No water spouts or anything. Maybe a pulse thunderstorm or a little bit of light hail, or small hail, I should say, at best. So there is an unstable atmosphere. Some of these tops could be up around 20,000 feet, maybe even a little bit higher here. But just kind of an interesting feature coming up there. We do have that threat for thunderstorms along the Oregon, southwest Washington coast on in through tomorrow. So yeah, here it comes, folks. The change is here. You guys are already reaping the benefits across the Puget Sound for the improved air quality down through Portland. The wind should be sweeping out through the Willamette Valley and on through the eastern portions here over the next day or two as well. Everybody gets cleaned out. Everybody gets some precip. Multiple rounds as we saw. We've got to watch the extended here with the potential for windstorms and atmospheric rivers going on through the end of October. Looks extremely active as we go on in through the next couple of weeks. We'll just continue to do this day by day. I might do another, if we start getting atmospheric rivers and windstorms coming up here, I might even do 2 videos a day for some of the most active periods coming up. But yeah, thanks for all my new supporting members. And I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm just going to go outside and enjoy this air quality today, probably do a jog or something. And yeah, maybe we'll build up some snow through the mountains. Hopefully we don't erase that with some atmospheric rivers. But anyway, we'll do this again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.